Good morning, students. So we are continuing this lesson, The World of Microbes. I am Madhavi, your biology teacher from BRGS. Let's start the lesson. What are microbes? Microbes are living organisms around us which cannot be seen with naked eyes. So, with what we can see then? So, we can see only through microscope. So that is the reason these organisms are called microorganisms. Okay, so let's move forward. How many microorganisms are there? Bacteria, algae, protozoa, fungi and viruses. So in the last video we have gone through bacteria and virus. So today we are going to learn about algae, fungi and protozoa. Okay, so this is a just recap about bacteria and virus. Okay, so they are simple living organisms and are mostly single celled. Means what? Unicellular. Okay, and tiny organisms, but they live together in colonies of millions. Okay, bacteria are found in 4 different shapes. Rod shaped, so rod shaped bacteria called bacilli, and round shaped or spherical shaped you can also say, so such bacteria are called cocci, or you can also call it as cocci. Okay, and spiral shaped bacteria are called spirilla, and comma shaped bacteria are called vibrio. Okay, next, this is about virus. Viruses are smaller than any known cell. So viruses are in this 5 microorganisms. Out of this, viruses are very small, and viruses can only be seen with electron microscope, that is powerful microscope, because these viruses are very smaller than other microorganisms, and viruses can reproduce only inside the bodies of other organisms, which mean they need a host. So as long as they are outside, they are like non-living beings. Okay, when they enter into the host, okay, host in the sense other organisms, then they start living, and they start replicate or reproduce their own bodies. Okay, next, yeah, so let's coming to this point, that is about algae. So today we are going to learn about this algae. Algae are simple plant like organisms which are usually aquatic in nature, means they live in water mostly, and they contain a cell wall and chlorophyll and can make their own food by photosynthesis. So that is the reason they are called as plant. Okay, and algae can be unicellular or multicellular. Some of the common examples are diatoms, chlamydomonas, okay, and seaweed. So you have to memorize these examples, 2 or 3 for each microorganism. And about algae, this is a little more detailed description. A simple non-flowering and typically aquatic plant of a large assemblage that includes that seaweeds and many single cell forms. Algae contain chlorophyll but lack true stems, roots, leaves and vascular tissue. So algae, like, it contains chlorophyll and it doesn't have true stems, roots, leaves and vascular tissue. Okay, next, yeah, these are the examples of algae. We have already gone through this. That is chlamydomonas and Spirogyra. Spirogyra is like rod-like structure. Okay. Next, protozoa. So this is other microorganism. These are unicellular microscopic organisms similar to animals that can move about to capture food and are heterotrophic in nature. So they are heterotrophic, means they depend on others for the food. Okay, so protozoans are heterotrophic, and they are mostly aquatic in nature. So like they live in water. And amoeba, paramecium are some examples of protozoa. Amoeba, paramecium are some examples of protozoa. Yeah, again some other points are here about protozoa. They are unicellular, they are mostly aquatic, they are solitary or colonial. Solitary in the sense they live alone, okay, single. Or colonial means they live in colonies. Okay, so let's move on. They can be free living or parasitic. Okay, they can be free living or parasitic. Parasitic in the sense they live on other organism, and their body shape may be irregular, oval, spherical, etc. Okay, fine. Next, examples of protozoa: amoeba, paramecium. And this is one other microorganisms called fungi, or you can also call it as fungi. Fungi. Plant-like organisms that do not contain chlorophyll are called fungi. So plant-like organisms that do not contain chlorophyll. Okay, so it doesn't have chlorophyll. And fungi may be unicellular or multicellular and are found in warm and moist places. Fungi can be heterotrophic, saprophytic or parasitic in nutrition. So they may be heterotrophic, means they depend on others. Saprophytic means they live for food for the other animal. Okay, and parasitic also the same. And examples: yeast, rhizopus, mushrooms, puffballs. So these are all the examples for fungi. Okay, these three are like so we are today in this lesson we have completed about the 5 microorganisms, and some other points are there about fungi. They appear to be plants, but they do not have leaves, roots, etc. They are simple non-green plants. They are heterotrophic. Okay, they appear to be plants, but they do not have leaves, roots, etc. We have gone through. Here you can see here hyphae. Okay, hyphae means there are filament like structures inside the fungi, so those thread like structures are called hyphae. Okay, and one more example is there for fungi, that is mushroom, which you all know well about it. And usually they are parasites. They may be unicellular also. And examples for fungi is bread mold and aspergillus. Yeah, now you can watch some of the videos about these 3 microorganisms for better knowledge and a brief description. Okay, so
in the first instance, we tend to answer mosquito. But that is not entirely right. Malaria is not caused by the mosquito, it is only transmitted by this vector. Malaria is caused by the organisms belonging to the genus Plasmodium. And what are these organisms? Well, they fall in the next category of microbes that we will be learning in this video. The third category of microorganisms, these are called the protozoa. As the name suggests, proto stands for primitive, while zoan means animal. Wait a second, are we saying these are organisms primitive to animals? Yes, they are unicellular in nature. However, the single cell has highly complex functions. Hence, they are also referred to as the pinnacle of unicellular complexity. So what do you think will be their structure? Well, they have a typical eukaryotic cell structure. Does the nucleus and the membrane-bound organelles form an integral part of the cell? Many of them possess food vacuoles which are used to store food. And these cells do not have a cell wall. Are there any more special features? Many of them have additional features like cilia or flagellum for locomotion. Cilia are these tiny hair-like structures which are present throughout the body. Flagellum, on the other hand, is usually a slender long filament which is single or rarely multiple in number. Now this was their structure. What could be their nutrition type? Here we are referring to whether they are autotrophic, that is self-nourishing, or heterotrophic, meaning they cannot prepare their own food. We know that these cells are like animal cells and have mobility. So do you think they will be autotrophic like plants? Of course not. These are heterotrophic in nature. Yes, they are dependent on other organisms as their food source. Only a few rare exceptions include the chlorophyll containing euglena. It usually performs photosynthesis, but others lack the capacity to do so. Many organisms belonging to the protozoan group are well-known parasites. They derive nutrition directly from the body of living organisms. So they do not kill the host, but do harm them severely. A few commonly known examples of protozoans include amoeba, euglena, paramecium, and the disease-causing Plasmodium. This was about the third category, that is the protozoa. In the next video, we will discuss the last type, that is the algae, in detail. In the first instance, we all have noticed the cottony growth on a stale piece of leftover bread. It happens with many food items when they are left open, especially in moisture. But have you ever wondered why? What exactly gets this cotton-like substance here? What is it made up of? Well, the cottony growth is nothing but a set of live cells. Yes, these are living cells, and this fact is more than enough for us to study them. By now you must have guessed the name of these organisms. Yes, I am referring to the fungi. Fungus is usually a broad term used to cover many organisms together. The group consists of microscopic as well as macroscopic organisms. What do we mean by this? Microscopic means those which can only be observed under the microscope. So the cottony growth that you find on stale bread can be included in this category. On the other hand, macro means huge. So those which are big enough to be observed with naked eyes are macroscopic organisms. Which organisms can we consider as an example of this type? Well, mushrooms and puffballs can be included in this category. Let's talk about the microscopic types first. These being too small, what do you think will be their structure? Do you think they will always be unicellular? Well, not all. Only a few types like yeast are unicellular, whereas others, in spite of being microscopic, are multicellular in nature. The unicellular forms exist as one single cell which performs all the activities efficiently. On the other hand, the multicellular ones have bodies comprising of many cells that coordinate to bring about smooth processes. The multicellular body usually consists of this stalk-like structure and a cap on top of it. This cap comes in various forms. Some of them may have a bag-like structure. others may have umbrella-shaped structure. Both these are dedicated to a special role. They contain spores of the fungi, which can be dispersed to give rise to a new fungal bodies on germination. Now moving to the stalk, this usually consists of long slender filaments. These filaments are the cells that make up the entire fungal body. They form a dense network together. So are these filaments given any specific name? Scientifically, they are addressed as the hyphae or singular hypha. These threads get interwoven to form a network. This structure is what we call as the mycelium. So can we say that the mycelium is a collection of hyphae? Yes. And can we also say that the fungal body is made up of mycelium? Absolutely. Thus, this stalk that we can see here and also these root-like structures are all mycelium made up of hyphae. Now one more important question that pops up here. Are these hyphae made up of one continuous tube? Or they are made up of smaller sections? Let's zoom in further to know this. Some fungi have hyphae that have partitions. These partitions, as we can see here, are called as the septa or singular septum. So such types of hyphae are called as septate hyphae. Now can you guess the next type? They will be without the septum. In many fungi, you find no partitions in the hyphae. These are called as aseptate hyphae. Another name for such type is cenocytic hyphae. Now you may wonder as to why the structure of these hyphae is so important to us. What could be their possible function? Well, apart from forming the entire body of the fungi, these help in many ways. Hyphae are ideal for absorbing nutrients from the surrounding food source. Precisely, the tip of these hyphae release enzymes that bring about digestion of food outside the body. After breakdown, these nutrients are absorbed directly by the hyphae and are passed to various parts of the fungal body. If the hyphae are aseptate, then the nutrients can be directly passed. However, in septate hyphae, the case is different. The septa have small pores which allow passage or even exchange of substances. The hyphae are also known to contain cytoplasm and a few important organelles.
Welcome back, children. I hope all you are well and doing great. Today in this video you are going to learn about algae. So let us begin. Algae are simple plant-like organisms. These are green and belong to plant group. These are mostly found in moist habitat. They are found in various types of moist habitats such as puddles, ditches, crevices of rocks, streams, etc. Some algae are attached to rocks while others swim or float in water of ponds, rivers, lakes, oceans, etc. Large algae that grow in ocean are called seaweeds and include the variety known as kelp. Algae may be unicellular or multicellular. Unicellular means if the organisms are made up of single cell, and multicellular organisms are made up of number of cells. Unicellular algae come in a great variety of shapes such as spherical, rod-like, spindle shape or club shape. Example of unicellular algae are Chlamydomonas. Chlamydomonas is a green unicellular algae. Multicellular algae is quite big. Multicellular algae occurs in various other forms such as filamentous and branches. Examples of multicellular algae are fucus, Polysiphonia, kelp, etc. Some algae live in colonies, for example, volvox. So volvox live in a colony form.
I hope you understood this video very well. Okay, thank you for watching. Have a nice day.